So what drew you to the show? What appealed to you?
I mean, I think Joel and JJ, their imaginations are pretty great, and that's exciting to me. And one other thing was, that my character was was originally a man, and they were open to making it a woman, and I thought that said a lot about just again their imagination and flexibility.
Mm-hmm. But the material was appealing to you?
Very much so. I mean, I've always wanted to play a cop, but so what? So I can do that in like an acting class or something like that. I don't have to do that for bother everyone else with my little dream. But what interests me is I loved how Children of Men sort of I thought that template was just perfect, and I know that's what they're talking about. And I find that sort of wrestles with some interesting questions, and that we're all this is like a really wild time to be living in, just crossroad wise, and this show might get into some of that stuff that we're just wrestling with.
So if it was originally a man, how did you end up with the part? Like, did you hear about the show and then say something, or what?
I have to get the validate. I have to verify this. I think my manager suggested it, and I think they were open to it, and that just is fantastic.
Now, the role that was being written, did they change much when they then made it a woman's part, or did they kind of keep the character sort of similar? You know what I'm saying?
It's sort of the same, but obviously because I'm who I am, and I've been, so it's changing a bit. But what I like is that I like that whoever she's become is she's still got a real strong feminine side. Because sometimes women in those positions of power, they have balls. They're just where are you a woman? Where's the feminine? And so she's able to be a boss and yet still know that she can do it without suppressing, like what Helen Mirren was doing in Prime Suspect. Okay. Which I love that template also, and I've talked to them about that, and they're open to that kind of thing as well.
Talk a little bit about the dynamic between your character and John, and they seem to have kind of a close relationship, but yet it's not necessarily a good relationship at all times.
To me they almost seem more like sister and brother in a way than like mom or boss employee, and I think that they have a bond because they experience a tragedy together, and that's an interesting place to start from. But she is still his boss, so she's just like older sister,
So what can you tell us about your storyline?
Well, I know that they're going to be talking to us about it. I guess Joel was saying that he was sort of more secretive on Fringe, and that, which I've been hearing they're very secretive, and I haven't been getting any of that, but he said no, he's doing it different now, because it just does work better. When you have open lines of communication, I think everybody sort of wins, But this is my first time seeing him today, so I don't know yet. But I'm just going to start shooting Tuesday, and so I'm sure I'll start talking to him. But whatever the case is, we're going to talk about it. That's what I know. Yeah.
How much ahead of time, where your character is going and stuff like that, do you like to know?
Oh, I like to know, because it's a house of cards, and it's just sort of I've gotten used to being not knowing, and that's part of it too, and I'll accept that, but if I had known certain things that a character did in episode 11, if I'd known that in episode 3 or earlier, I would have maybe created some different choices. If all of a sudden you find out your character's a psychopath in episode 13, but you didn't have any of that glimmers of that happening, that's hard. It's
How much?
I was going to say earlier, you brought up that the show is going to be touching on the crossroads we're reaching now. In your mind, what are those crossroads?
Climate change, some of the neuroscience stuff, some of the, Google Glass. That's sort of on a lower level, but just that can open doors to some of the ethical, even bringing species back from recreating the dodo, extinct species on so many levels. It's just I feel like we're just in a can of worms thing. You do one thing and then it's all of a sudden you bring back an extinct species and all of a sudden then another species gets threatened because just all sorts of wild questions are being raised.
Time for one more question.
How much of the backstory do you know, or what kind of backstory do you know about the character?
I don't know any.
Okay.
I don't know any. I'm sure I'll get some, but I just know there was a bad raid 2 years ago, and we lost a lot of officers.
Right.
It looks like the show is exploring humanity and what it means to be human. If you could set it up so that your character got to make one comment on what it means to be human, what do you think that would be? That's a pretty nebulous question, but
no, I mean to be human. I think it's to be to fall down and get back up, and to then fall down and get back up. You know what I mean? And on and on and on. Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.